All right, for January 5th, 2024, I want to talk about the two trades I want to study that I took today, Tesla and IBM. But first, it's important to notice that we have the market going up and IBM was going down. And I want to be able to study this and learn from this because it was quite challenging. First of all, here is the daily chart. This was a lot stronger going up. All right, it's starting to come down, over halfway down now. You can see the market was going up, 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 and then it reversed. And this is when I got short on some things, but now it's popping up. But I just want to make a note that IBM looked like it wanted to go down all day long. Let's take a look at the chart on IBM, the daily chart. You can see right here that there's a ledge that it is breaking down below, and you got this consolidation push crossed under the 8 and the 20, and it's right at that ledge right here. So when the market was strong, it was very tricky, especially at the opening. Let's take a look. Well, let's take a look at the hourly chart first. You can see the day, the hours here, that it broke below everything, all the moving averages, and that's what you want to see if you're going short, it below all the moving averages. On the 15-minute chart, it's below all the moving averages. And the 5-minute chart, it was below all the moving averages in the beginning here. And it tried to climb up over the 8, but once it fell below the 8, it never looked back except for this little jump right now at this moment. But let's take a look at what I first did. My first inclination, let's take a look at the 2-minute chart here, blow it up real good. My first inclination was to sell it short. So it gaps down, looking for it to go up and then reverse on red. As soon as it turned red right here, because what happened was the first 2-minute candle put in a pintail. As soon as it broke below that, I shorted, and it sprung down real quick, and I didn't get a chance to, I almost moved it to break even, and within a split second, it went from here all the way up here and stopped me out as I was moving it to break even. So that's a bummer. Plus, I had too many shares. I didn't realize it. So that was the majority. I probably would be profitable in IBM had I not oversized. Well, all these trades were bad right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added down here because I thought for sure it was going to go down. Well, let's talk about the second one, though. The second one, it started to turn red underneath this previous candle, so I shorted. It went down, it came back up, and looks like I broke even or something on this. I just broke even on it or something. But this, as it's starting to break down, that one I broke even. Well, it's a little bit of a loss. When it broke below the low of the day on these candles here, below the 5-minute chart, let's take a look at the 5-minute chart, because we should be able to see the 5-minute chart to see what I'm talking about. As it broke below the 5-minute candle, here we go. Right here's the 5-minute chart. The first 5-minute candle is this green one right here, right over here. And as it broke below that, I shorted. And you would think that I could do something with that, or at least break even on that trade. But what happened was it looked like it was continuing to go, and I added. So let's take a look at that now on the 2-minute chart, see what that looks like. So, yeah, right here, it broke below, and I started a trade right here, and it kept going, and I added. And I had my stop above this candle that I entered in down here. And it came back up, and it almost stopped me out. And it started rolling back down. I should have added here instead of way down here. And at least my average price would have been lower. It doesn't mean I would have won anything, because look what happened. It just went out and stopped me out on everything. I closed everything, but I'm glad I did, because in the past, I would have tried to hold it and keep adding and adding to a losing trade, and eventually it went over the top and even consolidated and started pushing and pushing, and fortunately it gassed out, and it did finally when the market turned around. I started shorting when I saw the market turning around, when I saw these pintails. What were some other reasons? Here on the 5-minute chart, this candle was put in right here, and I said I'll use this as my stop loss, the high of the day, the new high of the day, because it broke over the original high of the day, and it never looked back, and that was a great trade. And had I not oversized on the first loss, this would have been it would have made up for everything that I lost. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Here on the 15-minute chart, you can see I noticed it was rolling off the 8. It's underneath all the moving averages. It's breaking down below all the moving averages. There's no reason on the 2-minute chart here to not try to short this. Real aggravating though, because I put my stop at the high of the day, and then these two candles really just ticked me off. Fortunately, it continued to go down. So there was a spike down right here that I should have closed my position and probably gotten reshort on as it bounced back up. I didn't do that. I just held all the way through. And as it got closer to this gap that it created down here, which I should have held and all the way to, I closed my position. So I didn't hold for the gap, and I should have, and it would have worked out just fine had I done that. But as it broke down and consolidated and got near the low of the day right here, I took another short. And it kept popping up. I put my stop at the high right here of these candles, and it all, I thought it was going to get me. And when it continued down, I moved my stop down to these candles. And as it kept going down, because I was looking for a 1-to-1, this first box was the loss, and this other box here was the target. It spiked down past my target, and I closed my position. And let's look like I would be all the way back up to my entry point here at this point right now. So I could look for another short on it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. But that was the IBM trade. Very choppy. I've never traded IBM before. Trying to coordinate it with the market. The market's going up. IBM wants to go down. And all the key areas of the daily chart looked like it wants to break down, but the market was still pushing so high. It really threw me off. And then waiting patiently to get out of it was something I've struggled with in the past. This whole area right here where I took the second short, and it just took forever, it seems, to finally break down. And it was tough to once I got my 1-to-1 and it went past my 1-to-1, I was very happy to get out of it, and it's starting to come back. So there you go. Next trade is Tesla. All right, let's take a look at the daily chart on Tesla. You can see this trend line coming down here, and it had opened right at it and below it, and it started to go down. It was red. It bounced off the 50 moving average, but on the hourly chart, you can see this first the green candle right here. It gapped down. It's underneath all the moving averages, and it started to turn red, even below this pivot from a couple of days ago. So why not try to short it? Exactly. Problem is it didn't go down very far and started coming up, started closing above the 8 moving average on 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. What did it do here? Yeah, after 15 minutes, this first 15 minutes, it just closed above the high of the day there and started closing above the 8 and even closing above both moving averages. Then you have the crossover. And right about there, sometimes you get the reversal. But fortunately, I don't think I took any trades after it reversed. All my trades were trying to short this thing when it hit resistance. I had a bunch of shorts right here that I kept trying and kept trying and kept trying to short. Most all of it was break even, tiny little losses. As long as I could keep, I was trying to read the candles, and it kept bouncing and bouncing, and it looked like it was going to fail. But let's talk about the first trades. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That's a 15-minute here. My first trade was after it really started to close low here. This first red candle started closing low into these pintails, and my short was right here. And if I could have just gotten out, on the spike down that would have been successful. Let's take a look at what happened on the 15-minute chart. There's a 5-minute chart. The 15-minute chart, yeah, the first 15 minutes is where the reversal took place. It spiked down and immediately came back up, and that's what happened here. It spiked down, and right into the next 15-minute candle, it immediately took off. So this is the next 15-minute candle. That spike down is all it gave. And once it got into this area here, I want to show you what it looked like on the higher time charts. It was hitting the 8 moving average right here. And we've got so much stuff. The moving averages are way up here, and actually the 50 held it down. But I was looking at this trend line right here from a couple of days ago. It actually was this trend line that actually kept it down, and not the one that I was looking originally. This angle here, and it had the 20 and that angle. And those were the areas, I think that's where I was, 239.31. Let's see if this is the area or not. Yep, in this area is where I kept trying to short it. 1, 2, 3 tries. 3 or 4 tries. It says 4 short attempts right here, so it must have been 4. And that thing, but in the past, I would have just held it and kept adding and hold it and kept adding, and those days are over, and very rarely does that actually work. And when it does, you think it's a good strategy, but in the big picture, it's not a good strategy. And I'm really grateful that I'm learning finally to just take my losses, my little tiny losses, and be done with the trade. And like IBM, if I had paid attention to this more, I might have gotten short on it and made up for those little losses. But I was too busy with IBM, and I didn't want to be in more than one trade today for some reason. When I start off with a loss like that, puts me in a more defensive mindset than when I start off with winning, which I've been doing all week. So today's my first loss of the week, and the only day I've lost this week. But and it's smaller than normal. It's smaller than the win. So I just want to keep it like that. Sometimes the days that I lose in the past would have been skyrocketing all the little wins that I've made. So today, this week has been a great way to start this new year, where my wins far accelerate over the top of my tiny little loss today. And this is what I want to continue to do and practice and be consistent about. So hopefully this video will help me understand these techniques, and I'll do better and better as time goes on by the grace of God. Peace.